In this video, I will guide you through the process of setting up Raspberry Pi 5 for the first time, installing Raspberry Pi OS, and more. Additionally, I will discuss the recommended hardware needed to configure the Raspberry Pi 5 as a fully fledged desktop computer. For those who don't know, Raspberry Pi 5 is a compact single-board computer. It's like a motherboard containing the same components as a desktop PC but significantly smaller form factor. Raspberry Pi 5 is much faster than its previous generation, Raspberry Pi 4. Now let's proceed to unbox the Raspberry Pi 5. Now upon opening the small box, you will find the Raspberry Pi 5 and some instruction cards. The packing is straightforward and minimal. In terms of specifications, the Raspberry Pi 5 features a powerful Broadcom quad-core ARM Cortex-A76 clocked at 2.4 GHz, providing up to 3 times the speed of the previous generation. The Raspberry Pi 5 is available in various RAM configurations including 1GB, 2GB, 4GB, and 8GB. The variant you see right here is the 4GB model. The new Pi 5 comes with PCI Express that allows you to connect an M.2 SSD to your Raspberry Pi for speedy data transfer and super fast boot. The main component of Raspberry Pi 5 is the RP1. It's an I/O controller responsible for faster I/O operations. Also, Raspberry Pi 5 doesn't include a 3.5mm headphone jack, so audio output is handled through HDMI. To set up the Raspberry Pi 5 as a full-fledged desktop computer, you will need specific accessories. Now, these include a high-speed SD card for booting the operating system, a 27-watt OEM power supply, an HDMI mini to standard HDMI male cable for connecting to the monitor, a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, and an active CPU cooler for sustained performance. I'm using the official CPU cooler, which operates silently. Then connect the small cable to the fan connector. Now, attaching the CPU cooler involves removing the back paper, and you will see 2 holes on Pi 5 and spring buttons on active CPU cooler that needs to be pressed inside these 2 holes. And that's it. Now we are done attaching the CPU cooler. It's extremely helpful and keeps Raspberry Pi 5 cool all the time. Now it's time to flash an operating system onto the SD card. Now this process requires a Windows or Linux or a Mac OS computer. Then connect the SD card to the computer and install the Raspberry Pi imager. Then open the software, choose the device and select Raspberry Pi 5. Now choose OS. At the time of recording this video, Ubuntu and Raspberry Pi OS are compatible with Raspberry Pi 5. I'm going to choose the Raspberry Pi OS 64-bit Desktop Edition. Then click on Storage Device, choose SD card and flash the OS. After flashing, remove the SD card and reconnect it back to the computer. Now inside my computer, look for the bootfs drive. Now inside this partition, look the config.txt file. Now using this file, you can overclock the Raspberry Pi 5 by adding some arguments. If you are using an external SSD for USB boot without the official 27-watt power supply, a specific line must be added to remove the USB current limit. This way, Raspberry Pi 5 will be able to boot an operating system from an external SSD connected to USB 3 port without the need for an official power supply. If you're using an SD card, this line can be removed, then save the changes. Now remove the SD card from the computer and insert it into your Raspberry Pi 5. Then connect additional hardware such as HDMI for display and a Bluetooth dongle for wireless keyboard and mouse, and turn on the Raspberry Pi 5. In a few seconds, you will see a Raspberry Pi logo on your monitor and follow the on-screen instructions to set up your country, language, and time zone. Then create a user account and password. For some reason, my Wi-Fi connection is not detected and can be configured later. Then choose the default browser, skip software updates for now, and restart to complete the Raspberry Pi OS setup. And voila, now you will see a GUI desktop. You may see a warning regarding the power supply capability. Unfortunately, due to the supply issues, I'm not able to purchase it in my country. Instead, I'm using a 30-watt power supply capable of delivering 3 amps, meeting the minimum requirement for Raspberry Pi 5. It's recommended to invest in the 27-watt PD original power supply to fully leverage the capabilities of Raspberry Pi 5. Now connect to Wi-Fi, open the terminal, and check the Raspberry Pi OS base version. Then look for software update notifications, install updates, and restart the Raspberry Pi 5 to apply changes. It's worth noting that the Raspberry Pi 5 is significantly faster than the Pi 4, and the Raspberry Pi OS is highly responsive. It's time to install VS Code. Open Chromium browser and visit the VS Code website. Then click on the down arrow icon and choose Other Downloads. Now under the Linux section, choose Debian ARM64 and download VS Code. Then open a terminal, then navigate to the Downloads directory and install the VS Code by running the following command. That's it, now VS Code has been installed. This powerful code editor lets you write some code and edit the script files. Now using it, you can do web development and whatever you used to do with your computer. It's time to enable SSH and VNC for remote desktop connection. Now for that, open the Raspberry Pi configuration and change the hostname. I'm going to set it as rpi5. This hostname can be used to communicate with other devices inside a network. Then click on Interfaces and enable SSH. This lets you remotely access the CLI environment of Raspberry Pi 5 from another computer. For remote desktop connection, enable VNC. Now once it's done, click on OK to update the configuration. To connect to Raspberry Pi 5 from a remote computer, make sure the remote computer is connected to the same Wi-Fi as Raspberry Pi. Then open the terminal or command prompt and type this command to find the IP address of Raspberry Pi 5 assigned by your Wi-Fi router. In my case, it's 192.168.1.10. Now accept the authentication token and type the login password. And voila, we have connected to the Raspberry Pi 5. Next, type this command to edit the SSH configuration file and extend the idle timeout limit for SSH connections. Now uncomment the two specified lines. Then set the client alive interval to 1 million to keep the SSH connection active for several hours. Now once you have made these changes, go ahead and save them. It's time to connect to Raspberry Pi 5 GUI using VNC. Go ahead, download and install a real VNC viewer on your remote computer and open it. Once it's done, type the IP address of your Raspberry Pi 5. Here, press enter. Click on continue and type username and password. And voila, we have connected to Raspberry Pi 5 GUI. Now, this is how you remotely connect to Raspberry Pi 5 from another computer within a network. So by now you have understood what Raspberry Pi 5 can do it for you. This small piece of board runs the Linux operating system and can be used as a desktop PC. It can play 1080p videos from YouTube without any frame drops. This is a perfect desktop setup that you can build by yourself using Raspberry Pi 5. In my upcoming videos, I'm going to show you some crazy projects using Raspberry Pi 5 that involve building a mini NAS, a powerful home server, running Android 14, installing Ubuntu desktop, and more. Stay tuned for more awesome content. Thanks for watching this video. My name is KSK Ryle. I will see you in the next one.